Guys. It's Tuesday, 3/24, and today the plan is I'm going to go through the warm-up with you that I posted on the e-board, and just let you guys get caught up with the scientific notation assignments that I gave you guys to this point. All right. So what we're looking at is we'll do the warm-up in Classroom. If you go to Classroom, we had there's two worksheets here, and that first one here is some practice problems with two attachments. Okay, the helpful hints and the scientific review. They look like, here's the, I believe this was from the helpful hints. This is the second page, which I think I posted this yesterday online. And then here's the scientific notation, okay, practice that I did again. These answers are posted on yesterday's tab in the e-board. All right. And then once you're done with that, there's some quizzes. One is writing numbers in scientific notation. It's good practice. One is then the operations using scientific notation. All right, we could do those two. They're assigned to you. And then two Edulastics, one on adding and subtracting in scientific notation, and one on multiplying and dividing. Then they're not real long each, right? They shouldn't take you too much. They were assigned yesterday. So that's what the plan is today, get that stuff done. And looking at the warm-up then, just to walk through this, okay, write 0.0084 into scientific notation. We know our scientific notation is one number, a decimal point, then any other numbers that we have, times 10 to some power. So, and we know if we multiply by 10, we're just moving our decimal point around, whether it's going to the right or to the left. It's based on a positive exponent or negative. So if I go 1, 2, 3 this way, this guy now becomes 8.4. And what I did was, to get it back over here, I'm going to multiply it. It moved it 1, 2, 3. But if I multiply by 10 3 times, it actually moved it this way 3 places. So I want to divide by 3, which means I put a negative 3 there. So 8.4 times 10 to the negative third. That tells me I'd move this over 3 places. It's going that way, which gets me back to the original standard form. All right, then I know when we add, subtract, sometimes we have to move things around, so that's why I put these in here. If this guy, I want to put this in scientific notation, so I'd have to move it this 1 here. So think about what happens. I'm going to get 5.46. If I were to move this times 10 to the 8th, it would go over 8 this way. So if I move it 1 more, now I'd have to move it over 9 to get back to the original. So since I went this way, I was adding 1 to that value. Okay? And same thing here. If I have 8.85 times 10 to the negative 8, that means I'd move this guy 8 units that way right now. So if I move this over 1 more, right now I want to move it 9 units that way. So times 10 to the negative 9th power. When we're adding, we have to have our powers are 10 to the same power. It doesn't really matter if I change the 4 or the 5, but I got to change one of these to match the other, which means I want to adjust one of the decimal points. Let me take the 4 and change it so it's times 10 to the 5. So if I take this right now, and I want to, if I were to take this and put this in standard form, I'd move it over 4 units this way. So if I move it this way 1, now I have to move it 5 units. So that's 10 times 10 to the 5th. So it's 0.63 times 10 to the 5th plus 4.5 times 10 to the 5th. And we talked about adding and subtracting. Once you have the 10 to the 5th there, that gets pulled out. And we just take and add this guy and this guy. So 4.5 plus 6.63, that'd be a 3, and we get an 11, camera 1, 5, 5.13 times 10 to the 5th power. Okay? If I were to change, let's say I did that guy the other way, and moved this guy to the 4th, which means I'd have 6.3 times 10 to the 4th, plus, and now if I move this over 1, I'd have 45 times 10 to the 4th. And then if I added those guys together, 45 and 6.3 would be 51.3. So I'd get 51.3 times 10 to the 4th, but that's not in scientific notation. I'd have to take and move this guy 4 units over for that. So if I move it over 1 more unit this way, I'd get 5.13 times 10 to the 5th. So see how I get the same answer either way? Doesn't matter where I start. I think it's actually easier if you always go to the bigger one. It might save you a step at the end. And number 5, with multiplication, we just go ahead and multiply everything, okay? It's not like we have an addition and we have to worry about our order of operations and distributed property and all that stuff. Basically, this is saying 2.1 times 3 times 10 to the 5th times 10 to the 7th. So we can do 2.1 times 3, that's going to be 6.3. 6.3, and then 10 to the 5th times 10 to the 7th. Our rule is it would be 5 of these and 7 of these. We just add the exponents, keep the base the same. That's going to be 12. So it's 6.3 times 10 to the 12th power. And then division, same thing. We're basically dividing our numbers. 6 divided by 2. We don't have to have the like exponents here. That's only for addition and subtraction. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So you might see this in the book. Let me go back. So I do 6 over 2 times 10 to the 10th over 10 to the negative 3rd. That's the same thing as what we had right there. I could break it up that way. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And the rule is, and when we're dividing exponents that have the same base, we subtract top minus bottom. Right? When we multiply, we add it. So when we divide, we subtract. So times 10. And now it's 10 minus negative 3. Be careful of your integer rules here. 10 minus negative 3 becomes 10 plus 3. It's 10 to the 13th power. All right, so that would be our solution for that guy there. All right, keep plugging away. Like I said, you can go ahead and do the online activities. I am checking those for completion, and yeah, if they're not getting done, we're gonna have to get them done. There's nothing else really we can do at this point other than keep trucking along. I did attach in Classroom. Let me show you here a running log. Not really an assignment. Whoop, that looks like Aaron's. And if you click on it, these are the assignments that I am expecting you guys to have completed, at least tried. There we go. And you see week 1, all those that are there. Week 2, and I'll be updating this as we go along. If you want to I believe you have a copy of this. If you want to put a little check mark or you can even go in there and edit it and put done on the ones that you've completed. All right, so you can see week 2 was our warm-ups that we're doing each day, the helpful hints worksheet and scientific notation, the one that I just showed you, the quizzes on scientific notation, the 2 edge elastics. Okay, so that's kind of where we are this week right now. All right, so reach out to me with any questions that you guys might have. Hopefully starting to make a little more sense to you. I know that addition and subtraction can be a little challenging with moving that decimal point around, but just take your time with it. Some people will expand it all the way into regular form, rewrite it, and then put it back into scientific notation form when they're moving that decimal around because you get a little confused with that. Whatever it takes, all right, whatever works. You can always check your answers on the calculator as well. These are just regular numbers. They're in scientific notation, but they are just numbers that we're multiplying and adding, so the calculator knows how to do that. So if you need to check with the calculator, go right ahead and do that. All right, I'll catch back up with you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.